another thing is I want to ask about the most popular, most popular that about pen and paper hadith, pen and paper hadith.
What about it?
So there, the second caliph said that Quran is enough for him. The Quran is
Mm-hmm.
enough for him. He said that
Yeah,
second caliph.
yeah.
So what Quran he was mentioning at that time? What Quran
He
is
was he was
he
just
know
he was
about that?
whatever people knew, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had recited Quran to people, and some people had memorized Quran, some surahs of Quran. So there was no person there who had the full Quran. Quran was not compiled. There was nobody who had any manuscript of Quran except Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and there was not a single person who had memorized Quran. But people knew Quran a little bit, like common Muslims now know a little bit of Quran. They know some surahs, some verses they know. So, and these were Quran was a very spectacular book because Arabs did not have any book at the time. And Quran was very eloquent, and its eloquence was really mesmerizing to Arabs. They would listen to Quran and they would be like mystified. They would be amazed how beautiful these words are. Because indeed, Quran is such. Quran is very, 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 very mesmerizing, very super, indeed, miracle in terms of its eloquence, its beauty, its words, and its flow. So the Arabs were, but they didn't know the whole Quran. So he was referring to that. He just was trying to oppose the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was not being a rational, reasonable person. There's Quran, there's tafsir of Quran, and we know this Quran and this Quran is going to be enough for it. That was not the case. So he just wanted to create a ruckus, create a scene. So there's a quarrel, and if there's a quarrel, if there's an argument, then there won't be any chance. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam writes down his final will. So he was coming up with this.
Maybe I want to say that maybe he that time he know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has recited the Quran ayat and Maula Ali has written it. So maybe he was knowing about the Quran is there in Rasulullah's house or with Maula Ali.
He didn't care about the Quran. He didn't. He wasn't saying, okay, Amir alayhi salam has Quran, that Quran is enough for. He was not talking about that. He didn't care about which Quran. He simply did not want for the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to write a final will, because at that time Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam was gravely ill, and it was evident that he's soon going to die. Especially they knew it very well because they had poisoned him. So he did not want Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to write something, because something written would have been different than something spoken.
Yeah. Yes.
Something written, because Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Arabs didn't have anything writing really. Arabs at the time, they lacked writing skills, and there was no culture of writing things. So if something is written, its importance would have been very, very immense. And he did not want this to happen. And but you're assuming Omar to be this rational person, that he's talking about some Quran, that was not his case.
No, I'm not. No, that is I don't believe
he didn't care about that. Yeah, he was just saying Quran is enough for us. Which Quran you're talking? There's no Quran.
Which Quran?
There was no Quran.
That is what I was asking.
There was no Quran. The only Quran that was Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam had, and Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam had it. So the other people had a little bit of Quran, but they didn't have the whole entirety of Quran. So what Omar was saying did not make any sense either. Anyways, yeah. But his purpose was not to make sense. That's important for you to understand. His purpose was not to convince anybody. His purpose was to make a scene, to raise his voice, disrespect, start an argument, so that the final will is not written. That was his whole purpose. He didn't want to convince anyone.
That is what I was asking, actually, that there was no Quran. He was just making a scene, creating a scene. That what you were saying, I fully agree.